everybody. Hello, it's high noon. How's everybody doing today? Good. Hey, we got a good turnout for early summer crowd. My name is Derek Maribon. If you don't know me, CEO of Ingenix Digital Marketing, and I'm up here with Laura Spenceley from Serve Pro of Canada. They do disaster cleanup. Laura's filling in for Stacy. We'll get to her in a minute. But welcome to LA2M. This is the last week of Ann Arbor schools. Anybody have kids in school right now? Yeah, so you know it's kind of a busy week, right? Running around. But thanks for coming. Great turnout, probably because we have such a great speaker. And I have to ask, is there anyone here for your very first LA2M? Any first time? Welcome. Thanks for being here. You know, LA2M meets every Wednesday. We take off July and August, and we take off Christmas, but we're here every other week, and we are a 501c3 nonprofit. So that's one of the reasons that Laura is up here. She's standing in for our treasurer. LA2M is supported by its members, so if you want to come here, it's free. It's free to come. If you want lunch, that's $10, and there's menus on the table. Conor O'Neill does a great job at lunch. And then if you want to help support us, we ask that you throw a few bucks in the champagne basket. You want to say anything about that, Laura?
Well, it's empty right now, but a $3 to $5 donation is greatly appreciated, and we'll make that decision at the end of the year for the Marketing Education Scholarship.
Yeah, well, that's true. So we have donated to Ann Arbor Public Schools, but this actually covers a lot of our hard costs.
Okay.
So help us cover our costs.
Yeah, help us cover our costs and come enjoy all
free programming.
Yeah.
And Laura's great. She's been coming to LA2M since way back in the day. We've been going on for five years now. Yeah, 5 years. So just to give you an idea of format, our speaker talks for around 30 minutes. We do some Q&A, and then at 12:45 you will get a chance to introduce yourself, which is great. So you can introduce yourself. We don't have an official sponsor this month, which is kind of crazy. Well, Ingenix is sponsoring it. That's my company. But just because we do a lot. So we have like live tweeters that we bring to every meeting, and we do a lot. So I guess we're kind of sponsoring this month. But LA2M is supported by sponsors. So if anybody has a company that wants to sponsor, it's $250 to sponsor LA2M. And our email list goes out to almost 2,000 people around Southeast Michigan, which is a great way to get the word out. And you also get to say a few words at the meeting, which is great. Dexter Builders was the sponsor last month. We've had lots of great sponsors over the year. So we may have a summer sponsor, and then we'll start up again in the fall in September. And oh yeah, we always give a T-shirt. We get it with Laura. Yeah. Laura's going to give him the T-shirt. So we always give a T-shirt to our speaker. That's one of the ways we thank them for coming all the way out here. And yeah, this guy came a long way. You know, we do try and get speakers from Metro Detroit area. All right. All right. So anyways, enjoy your T-shirt, Hajj. You don't have to wear it right now. As you can tell, Hajj likes to dress very well. So hopefully the LA2M T-shirt will fit into that repertoire. But yeah, so Hajj, I've known Hajj for a long time. He does these brand camp universities, Brand Camp U. And I actually met him. We met at Startup Weekend. Do you remember that? Startup Weekend in Ann Arbor. That was a long time ago. That was like 2008. And right when he was starting Brand Camp U, but he's now had Brand Camp conferences around the country, and he does very successful events, and he's been very influential in the community. He's a great role model. He's a great leader. He speaks at graduations. He speaks all over the place. Sounds like, and he's always on the news. This guy, he talks about personal branding, and I always say you should imitate the best. And this guy does a really good job of personal branding. So he's going to teach you some things today, but I also encourage you to look at what he's doing. Look at what he's doing, because everything he does is intentional. All of his materials are intentional. Everything he does helps convey the image of Hajj Flemings. So I'm impressed. It takes a decent amount to impress me. But so let's give our speaker a warm round of applause, Hajj Flemings, and welcome him.
All right, how's everybody? Testing, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Testing, can you hear me on the mic? You guys hear me? All right. Good. Well, I'm excited to be here. Thank you, Derek. Your check will be in the mail for all the kind words you said about me. So good. I'm excited to be here. I came all the way from Birmingham, Michigan. It took me about 52 minutes to get here according to Google Maps. But I'm excited to be here today. We're going to talk a lot about branding. We're going to talk about branding yourself. We're going to talk about branding organizations. And so I think we're going to have interesting dialogue. We're going to make this interactive. I want to make sure no matter how great of a speaker you believe you are, people like to hear themselves talk. So at the end of it, we want to make sure that we say in 10 or 15 minutes that you have the opportunity to be able to talk and share your ideas, and you look like a powerful thought leader when you get up to ask your questions. So again, but let's start to just lay the foundation first for branding. Has anyone ever heard of this company before? Coca-Cola. This company was formed in 1886. The first year that they were in existence, they sold, I believe, 9 bottles of Coca-Cola. 9 bottles of Coca. If you look at this company, they have a net worth, they have a value of about $70 billion. Does anybody know what the core product is that they sell?
Soda.
What?
Soda.
Soda, okay. And that soda is made out of what?
Sugar water.
Sugar and water, excellent. So they sell sugar and water, but they're worth about $70 billion. Now they have a portfolio that includes water, includes organic stuff, juices, and those kind of things. But their main product is sugar and water. And so there's enough value in this company. So say, for instance, if they had no inventory and they had to literally start from scratch and they had no manufacturing facility, they could secure billions of dollars to restart their company as long as they had their recipe and as long as they had their trademark. So when we talk about branding today, I want you to get the understanding and the idea of the value that it brings to whatever it is that you do, the organization, the company, you as an individual person. So again, as we begin to talk about branding, when I think about branding, I want you to really think about this from a couple of lenses. Brands have a visual aspect to it. Brands have an audible component to it. Brands have the ability to be physical. Brands can be virtual. Brands have personalities. Brands have values. Brands can be people. Brands can be organizations. Brands can be states. Brands can be countries. They can also be cities. And so when you begin to think about a brand, I want you to think about from a visual aspect. When you walk in the room, you're making an impression without even saying anything. So everything that I do, just like Derek said, I really try to be very thoughtful and intentional in terms of what I do. Even these glasses, my wife kind of hates these glasses now because I wear the glasses all the time. And I'm like, honey, I'm like Clark Kent when I leave the house. So I have to have the glasses on. And so I see a friend of mine, Dave, in the back, and I don't even know Dave Lindenberg. Okay. Well, if you see him today, he has no glasses on there because he just got the eyes. All right. So, but this is part of who I am. But I want you to know that these glasses are real, folks. These are not fake glasses, these are the real deal. But it's part of who I am. So again, people make decisions based upon some visual cues or visual aspects. If you're doing a presentation, your slides are a part of that visual component that you're communicating. Your business card is another aspect of another visual cue. So if you see my card has my face on it. So you would not forget who I actually am. So again, you have to think about that when you're putting together and putting the thoughts into what you want your brand to communicate. The audible aspect of a brand. If you have video content that is online on YouTube, or if you have audio content in SoundCloud or in iTunes, again, what does that sound like? What is the inflection of your voice? When you talk to people in a room, when you engage with people, do you talk down to people? How do you communicate to people? That's part of the audible aspect of your brand. Is your brand virtual? Is it a mobile app? I mean, is it something where you're just looking at maybe just the UI of what that looks like online? That's another part of it being virtual. If you have a brand that has a physical location, what does that location look like? What is the culture like in that particular building? Do other companies want to be there? Do people want to be around or be in that environment? These are all elements that go into you thinking about and developing what the brand's going to actually look like. And it's very important because that people make economic and financial decisions based upon how they feel about the brand. And so if we took a step back real quick and really went back to define what a brand is, it really goes back to it is the experience that people have with a product, a person, an organization, and or service. So it is the full experience, the full interaction. How many people have ever worked on a project with someone and that person did not pull their weight on the project? If that person was to walk through the door right now, what thoughts might go through your mind? And you don't have to be nice. Go ahead. Any thoughts? Lazy, slacker, shiftless. I mean, there might be different thoughts that might go through your mind, because at the end of the day, your brand is not what you say it is. It's what the outside world says. But this is the absolute best definition that I've ever read about what a brand is. And it comes from Seth Godin. And it says, it's a set of expectations, memories, stories, relationships that taken together account for a consumer's decision to choose one product or service over another. And I'll read that again. It is a set of expectations, memories, stories, relationships that taken together account for a consumer's decision to choose one product or service over another. So one of the things to think about is that people have a gut feeling about your brand, whether it's a business brand or you as a person, and they make economic decisions based upon how they feel. So every single day we're making impressions online, making impressions without even being in the room, and those impressions form people's decisions in terms of whether they want to do business with us or not. From a brand standpoint, perception can never ever be greater than reality. How many people have any friends on Facebook? Right? So I have some friends on Facebook where it's like sometimes they walk on water on Facebook and it's not raining outside. Right? But when I see them in real life, what I see in real life doesn't necessarily equal. When people get my age, then they want to have high school pictures or photos online. Have you ever seen anybody's profile photo that didn't quite look like they did? You currently? People have flashbacks. But I'm like, how will someone know who you are when they see you at a networking event? Right? So again, you want to make sure that that's going to be consistent and it communicates exactly what it is. You have to be proud of who you are. I'm going to own it, right? So own whatever you are. So again, perception has to always equal reality. Because the perception does not equal reality with your brand, what happens, and then people, they're not going to complain to you. They're going to go online and they're going to talk a lot of junk, right? So again, you want to make sure that whatever you communicate is called a brand guarantee or a brand promise. So whatever it is that you're communicating to the outside world, you have to be able to deliver that. So if you can only make 15,000 widgets a week, you can't tell people I can make that I can make 1 million widgets per week, right? Because people are going to make some decision and they're going to tell everybody. So we're going to do something that I really like to do, and it's called Brand Soup. So we have some basic names up here, and this is an interactive opportunity for us to be able to talk. Okay, so if you see the name Lance, who comes to mind? Y'all are quiet over there. So Lance Armstrong. Okay, so if you think about Lance Armstrong, what do you think about? Dover, cheater. Anything else? Well, you got it too nice to hear that. Okay, all right, okay, so that's Lance. If you heard the name Lindsay, what name would come to mind?
Lohan.
Lindsay Lohan. If you thought about Lindsay Lohan, what would you think about?
Drunks.
Drugs. Fighting.
Party.
What? DUI. Okay, all right. Nobody said actress or anything like that. All these names are famous. Okay. If you were to hear the name Michael, what name would come to mind? Michael Jordan. Who? Michael Douglas. Okay. All right. That's cool. Okay. All right. So if you thought of those names, what else would you think about as it relates back to them? They're going to talk to me. This is the interaction part.
Greatest player of all time, Michael Jordan. A winner.
I would have to agree with all those. Never lost in the NBA Finals. Okay, 6-time NBA champion. All right, if you hear the name Bill, what name would come to mind?
Clinton.
Bill Clinton, Bill Gates. Okay, what would you think about with either one of them? Leader. What else? Ultra rich. Bill Clinton makes about $250,000 per speaking engagement. I wouldn't mind having that gig. If you heard the name Kate, what would you think about?
Middleton.
Maybe Kate Middleton. So what do you think about with Kate Middleton?
Baby.
She's very pregnant. All right, that's a very good answer. Okay, if you heard the name Kim, what do you think of? Kardashian. Okay, so if you thought of Kim Kardashian, what thoughts might come to mind? Overrated. Kanye West. All right, so that family has done a tremendous job marketing. I'm not sure what the talent is in the family. I don't believe that model is scalable for the average person. But again, they've done a tremendous job of being able to market whatever it is that they do. I'm really not sure at this point what they make a lot of money doing. But at the end of the day, these are all basic names. I didn't say LeBron. I didn't come up with a name that was very unique. These are all basic names, and there's certain thoughts that came to your mind when you thought about these individuals. So now, if I was to ask you, what is the perception or what are the thoughts that you want people to have when they think about you? We'll pause for a second. So now, what would be some of the thoughts that you want people to have when they think about you? It is your chance to say something out loud. This is not a rhetorical question.
I'm the real estate, so the ultimate real estate professional.
The ultimate real estate professional. Dedicated. Professional. Valuable. This is your chance to brag on yourself. So no one wants to say anything positive about themselves. Okay, all right. These people up here are confident. And what else?
Awesome.
Awesome. Awesome at what? Just being awesome isn't anything, right? Integrity. That's important. Care. What else? Trusted. Trust. Care. Those are some very important. A lot of what we do online today, you're building trust without even being in the room. And so a lot of the interaction and engagement really is leading to building trust so that people want to do business with you even if they've never met you. So again, that becomes very important in terms of thinking about the next thing. When you think about a brand, the thing that I want you to think about before we go into Facebook and LinkedIn and doing all these other things in terms of being able to build this strong brand and really position yourself online, thinking about what you have committed your life to. What are you committing your life to? I read something online that said that the average person will live 73 years. Now, me personally, I plan on living 120 years myself. Because I have a lot of stuff to accomplish. So now, if you were to live that long, I went back and did the math, that would be equal to about $683,000. The second largest activity in life next to sleep for most people is going to be work. And so you start working at age 18, work to age 65, and if you work 40 hours per week, you're going to end up working about 89,440 hours. And so the point that I want to make is, what are you really committing your life to? Because at the end of the day, brands that are sustainable and that are extremely successful are those that are doing what they love to do. They're creating great work and doing tremendous things. So again, I want you to think about, are you really doing what you love to do? And if not, then we need to think about how do you kind of reposition yourself so that you can do the work that you want to do and be able to make the impact, right? At the end of the day, when you think about your brand, I had a chance when I was out in San Francisco, I had a chance to meet the #1 real estate agent in the Navy. And this was like 2 years ago. But again, he had sold, I think, like $1 billion worth of homes. But he had sold it to Mark Zuckerberg's parents, Reid Hoffman's, so he had sold it to those kind of people. But at the end of the day, what I thought about is I could care less that you are a real estate agent. All I would care about is, can you sell my home? And at the end of the day, when you think about who you are and really positioning yourself, people are selfish. And all they care about is what you're going to be able to do for them. So again, when you think about the brand, think about the company or the organization that you represent, you always have to think about it from the mindset of, how am I solving a problem that's bigger than me? How am I addressing something that is going to be significant for someone else? Because that becomes important, because that's really what people are thinking about at the end of the day. What I believe is that inside of every single person is a genius. But for most people, that genius is asleep. But I believe that it operates in terms of this cross-section of passion, problem, and process. And really, if you can get the genius that's on the inside of you activated, you can begin to create some amazing work and do things that you love to actually do. I am a reformed engineer. I'm a mechanical engineer, worked at Ford, and I'll never forget, I was traveling doing a lot of good things, and my job ended. My job ended on my birthday. So I just came back from speaking at Walt Disney. I was excited, doing a lot of good things, and then we knew our activity was going away. But when our activity was going away, I came back. I didn't think that on my birthday in 2009 that my actual job would end. So I walk out of Ford Motor Company in Dearborn, Michigan. And I have my iPhone in my hand, and my iPhone buzzes, and have my next opportunity. Because at that point in time, I said, you know what, either I can go back to doing what I was already doing, or I can now do something that I really love to do. And so my next opportunity buzzed as I walked out of the door. It was a promotion where I was now working for myself and I was making more money, but now I was my own boss. And one thing to talk about being an entrepreneur, but for those who are true entrepreneurs and pure entrepreneurs, you really have to be an athlete. Entrepreneurship, I don't think, is for everybody. It's for people that want to go out and kill their prey every single day. Now, we're going to get into some more technical stuff.